How's it going, everybody? Positive Key, back with another video for you guys. This is March 4th. Patch notes for the auras, another rebalancing and fixing. I hope everybody's doing good, staying positive. If you're not already subbed up, please drop a sub. I greatly appreciate it. A like, any feedback is always good. Let's do it. There were some very valid questions on why some effects may need to be rebalanced. Aura acquisition has been extremely gated by time locks, the loyalty point system, restricting access to their effects. As such, not everyone playing right now has auras, especially with the view towards the higher end ones. As we remove auras and transfer their effects, we have to be mindful that a lot more players will now be able to access those powers and have them active more permanently, and the subsequent effects that could have on the wider game are substantial, whether that experience rates or the economy. Put differently, a small percentage of players using a 1 hour aura that results in 15% more resources is very different and less of a concern than a much larger percentage of players who could access the same effects permanently with the same level of power. This is something we'd have to rebalance even if we were to just make all auras available to players without moving their effect to other rewards in game. We wanted to provide some data to cover some examples. The vampirism era aura is now the number one most used aura by players each day. On average, over the past month, its use represents around 6.6 of daily members. I'm one of those 6.6 of the daily members that use that. Legendary green fingers, which hovers around the fourth to sixth most used aura per day, represents around 2.7% of daily members. This falls to 0.3% for Supreme Green Fingers. Legendary 5 Finger Discount comes in at the 7th most used aura per day, with the usage representing 2.7% of the daily members. The Supreme version represents 0.4%. As you can see, even the most used auras represent a small percentage of players on a daily basis. Of course, there are many factors that go into this, such as what stage of the game a player is at or what type of content their focus is on at the given time, but we hope this helps highlight how we have to be mindful of the same effects being permanently available to a much wider net of players at their current power. Overall, we still want to keep the effects in game and let players use them as you have for years. We're not against keeping you feeling powered up, and we want to balance them in a way that doesn't give this game an XP slash GP system shock and cause more issues to resolve later. The feedback you gave us. From the discussions around the first blog, there were many different opinions, feedback, and concerns raised from the community on the initial high level design, and we've adapted and revised design in response to that feedback. Here are some of the points that were raised. They didn't like the slot competition with an extra slot has traditionally existed. The pocket slot was a common concern here. These there were concerns around it adding to relics or invention perks because those things have their own frictions that you've expressed. There were concerns around weakened aura effects if are rebalanced. We've been discussing and redesigning based on the above and other feedback points while keeping in line with our own considerations for design 2. We've attempted to maintain aura effects that you thought were important while not making them compete with other things as best as possible. We've also made some tweaks to content where appropriate, such as adding uh, pilfer points to heists, which is needed because they're hard to come by. We've listed these changes out below and look forward to hearing what you think. Please do note that these details are always subject to change on a design balancing and our own production timelines. Skilling auras, we revised some of the places their effects would be transferred to and aim to help bolster some already existing rewards. Note that everything below is subject to rebalancing. Additionally, if you are on mobile, please turn your device landscape to better read the following table, which you don't have to worry about because I'm going to read it for you. The Daemonheim Aura. All passive effects remain as passives for completing the respective tier of Daemonheim area tasks. The 1 hour activation effect for Prayer Restore will also simply become a permanent passive. The Thok headbutt animation that replaces the backhand ability animation will become a combat cosmetic override, unlocked once the respective area tasks have been completed. Focus siphoning. The increased success rate will become a passive unlock. It can be bought with from Wizard Ranzit Runecrafting Shop, requiring runespan points to purchase. The increased crop yield effect will become a passive to unlock. It can be bought from Sidekick's Shop of Balancing or of Balance using Crux equal favor to purchase. Five finger discount. The increased thieving chance will become a passive unlock. It can be brought from the Thieves Guild or can be bought from the Thieves Guild using pilfer points to purchase. We'll be making Heist Award Pilfer points alongside this. We already know that. Enrichment will be directly buffing the chance to obtain an enriched memory as part of the skill. Quarry Master will be making this one of the mining leveling benefits. The first unlock will give 5% critical chance at level 59 mining and another 5% at 85 mining. Quarrymaster was originally planned to be removed, but we understood your feedback about keeping its critical strike chance effect, especially for content such as Croesius and Gate of Elidinus. Ah, Call of the Sea will be increasing or adding to the success chance to various tools and rewards. Perfect Juju fishing potions increased to 10% from 5%. Tools Rodomatic 0% to 3%. Dragon Harpoon 6% to 9%. Crystal Rod 5% to 8%. Tavia's Rod 10% to 13%. Summoning Familiars Granite Crab 1%. Ibis 2%. Granite Lobster 3%. These changes bolster the reward and allows players to continue using their typical fishing setups as is, allowing you to stack up on fishing success chance boosts. Lumberjack will be increasing the effectiveness of hatchets. Pretty cool. Tracker will be directly buffing the success chance for capturing creatures across the board as part of the skill. This was already done for birds and some cabbit tracking with the early game rebalance update. Resourceful. This will be removed. Resourceful was originally planned to be removed without its effect being maintained in game. Crystal and red sandstone will become a permanent resource once the Dailyscape overhaul update releases. So, this will no longer be a problem as players will be able to mine it indefinitely. One key point you raised, however, was that resourceful was useful for archaeology material caches. As such, with this update, we'll be making material caches give a guaranteed minimum amount of materials before depleting. We reviewed the following skilling auras and are going ahead with their removal. Flameproof, that's going to be removed. Sure-footed, it's going to be removed. Dedicated Slayer, that one's going to be removed. Illumination will be removed. Jack of Trades will be removed. Combat auras. We've revised the designs for transferring the effects below and have avoided adding them to already existing pocket slot items, especially other in-game items that give the same effects won't be changed in any way and will continue to be alternatives that players can use. The below is a list of effects we're maintaining. Note if you're on mobile, turn your device. You already know, I got you. Alright, vampirism. We'll be creating a new aspect for the effect, vampirism under a new category, aspects of sustain. This will be unlocked in the Ancient Spellbook, level 68 magic, rune cost 15 blood, 10 death, 6 soul, 40 fire. This will be aimed as a mid-game unlock and work the same way as other aspects such as Animate Dead and Darkness, where one can be used at a time lasting 12 minutes. Penance. We'll be creating a new aspect for the effect, Penance under a new category, Aspects of Sustain. This will be unlocked in the normal spellbook with level 62 magic, rune cost 30 body, 30 mind, 15 soul, 20 chaos. This would be aimed as a mid-game unlock and work the same way as other aspects such as Animate Dead and Darkness, where one can be used at a time lasting 12 minutes. Salvation, Harmony, and Corruption. We'll add this as an effect to the Sun Spear. we'll be tweaking this effect. Instead of giving it 10% per 500 prayer XP, we'll make it give restore on each fire kill with a 0 to 5% restore. To unlock this, players will have to cremate vires in the columbarium. Every 50 vires cremated gives 1 plus percent restore, up to a maximum of 5% with 250 cremations. Dev note: currently, it normally takes around 2 fire kills to trigger the 10% restore, whereas this would give up to 5% restore, but guaranteed on each kill. Essentially, this makes training at fires a bit more consistent, and you'll restore half as much prayer, but it will trigger on each kill, double the previous amount, leveling out the effective change. Poison Purge. We'll be tying this effect into the anti-poison totem changes. Remove the ability to hold the anti-poison totem in the offhand, only wearable in the pocket slot instead. Increase the immunity when worn in the pocket slot from just 50 to 100%. When under the effect of an anti-potion on the top of this, it will allow you to heal a percentage of poison damage taken. This aura was originally planned to be removed, but we saw an opportunity to carry out some quality of life with the anti-poison totem. However, given one niche this aura is and that venom blood already exists, where we'll only be going forward with this as long as it sticks within the scope of the update. The anti-poison totem works in a bit of a strange way, wearable in 2 different slots, and giving a different amount of poison immunity based on what slot is equipped in. Desert Pantheon Might of Het. The Might of Het effect from this aura will be transferred over the totem auras. Your feedback on the previous design for the totem auras giving skill effects was that the level requirements for this totem were too high for the benefits they gave. We'll still need to do something with the totem auras with this update rather than outright removing it. We see its high requirements as suitable for the Might of Het effect from the Desert Pantheon aura, which was an effect you expressed wanting to keep. We'll we will rename this to something like Totem of Vitality instead. The following lists are auras being removed without their effects transferred elsewhere. Note that many of these auras were already disabled with the combat modernization on Monday due to the player power changes that came out with that update. Aegis is gone. Ancestor Spirits, Berserker, Brawler, Dark Magic, Inspiration, Invigorate, Knockout, Maniacal, Reckless, Runic Accuracy, Sharpshooter, Equilibrium, Reverence, Majorat, Dwarven Instinct. Equilibrium was originally mentioned in our first Aura blog as a potential one to keep. However, following the combat changes, it has been disabled. We'll work with the combat team to continue reviewing feedback around these changes as the players get more comfortable with the new combat system over the coming days and weeks. As mentioned in the first blog, there were a handful of miscellaneous auras that were also planned to be removed: Friend in Need, Oddball, Wisdom, and Prime. Mark of War and Aura Life refreshes. With auras gone and aura refreshes no longer having a use, Marks of War will have limited things to spend on. We're going to keep life refreshes purchasable with Marks of War and War Wares, and bonfire upgrades will also continue to require them for purchase. Just a reminder that life refreshes are on the list of MTX items to be removed from the game later this year, mentioned in the blog from November 3rd of 2025. Aura refreshes are currently a possible drop from the rare drop table, so with this update, we'll also be switching them out for another item. In the future, we'll consider that the value marks of war provide, and if we should do more with them or rethink them. About Aura refunds. We've seen some questions following the announcement of the Aura system changes about whether loyalty points spent on the Auras will be refunded. As outlined in our recent Premier membership update, the loyalty store will be closing and loyalty points will no longer have in game function. Because of this, we won't be offering loyalty point refunds for previously purchased auras. The only thing that loyalty points could have been used for, cosmetic content, will be relocated into the free monthly maintenance or free monthly marketplace drop cycles when the store closes. One important distinction we can make relates to players who purchased an aura using bonds. as there is a direct and single correlation between the bond and the aura. Any players who spent bonds to acquire an aura in the last 3 months after the 1st of December of 2025 will have those bonds automatically returned to their accounts when the aura overhaul goes live. Additionally, any players who have purchased the Majora aura using Reaper points in the last 90 days since 3rd of December of 2025 will have those points returned to them, though the timing on this still needs to be finalized. Importantly, with the ongoing aura overhaul, we are not removing all aura effects outright, and you'll be able to continue using many of their effects due to our efforts to rework the system. Are being reworked and integrated into other parts of the game, while others are being retired as part of broader improvements. Given the varied changes to the different auras, there isn't a fair or consistent way to apply refunds across all situations. We understand that many of you invested loyalty points over time, and we truly appreciate that commitment. Our focus is on ensuring that the updated system feels strong, healthier, and more rewarding for the future of RuneScape. The next step that covers everything we have today on the overhaul update. We hope we've addressed your feedback by shifting places. These effects come from to be much more friendly and less competitive to other slots and rewards than the design iteration from the first blog. We're now implementing the above changes, but will of course keep an eye on the discussions as they unfold to ensure that we've covered as many of your feedback points as we can. With that in mind, head on over to the discussion thread and get involved in the conversation. So hopefully this little patch notes update, whatever you want to call it, for the overhaul rework helps you out, and you get an idea of how it's going to go and which ones are going to be gone, which ones are buffed, which ones are nerfed. If it did help you out, make sure you drop a sub, drop a like, drop some feedback to make sure that you get the next content update. And always stay positive, and thank you guys so much for watching.